Hi, I'm Mark with Bean Trailer. I'm the president and CEO, and I'm here with Brian Dyer. He's the chief financial officer and director of operations for Bean Trailer. And you and I, we did this a while ago. I think it was about a year ago, and man, a lot has happened in the market since that time. There was that massive COVID spike.
Yep.
And things have normalized a little bit. And so different challenges, during the COVID spike, those had some interesting challenges. So my question for you is, how were you able to reduce lead time and improve quality as we literally doubled in size?
Yeah, that's a big number, doubling, right? Trying to do twice as much, and at the start of that, having the same people, same facility, same equipment. I think it does speak to one of the things that having, experience in manufacturing, it really points to how the tools that we have in place, the systems that we have really allow us to do something about that. As soon as we had visibility of that spike, we had visibility, we have scoreboards in all of the areas that we have in our supply chain, in our operational group. And we can see as sales come in what's needed immediately, right? As soon as we sell a trailer, we know what we need to do to hit the lead time that we're striving for. And so, there were extra supply chain issues during that time. There was extra labor issues during that time. But it does really speak to the tools that we do have and the team that we have to not only keep up with lead times, but even decrease them in a lot of cases. And so it's the challenge of manufacturing.
Right.
It's an invisible challenge to a lot of people. When a customer orders, they know they want the trailer and they know they want it as soon as you can make it. And we care about that. We care about that. We care to get them their trailer, not have them wait. The business that they give us, it matters to us.
Yeah.
We want to earn that.
One of the things I was impressed about during that time is that so many companies that I dealt with personally, and actually some of our vendors, they just used COVID and supply chain issues as an excuse, right? Like, oh man, we'd like to get you your trailer, we'd like to get your component, or I'd like to get your order for something that you order personally, but you know how it is. There's supply chain issues, and I'm really impressed with how we mitigated most of that stuff, and we did not allow that to be. We had a few things that delayed, like we'd wait for awnings or canopies, but in general, we just didn't allow that to be an excuse.
I don't know if we've ever even talked about this outside of this discussion at this moment, but like we do kind of have a culture of no excuses. We don't like that. Even if that's what we get, and there are reasons to have that, we're just not in on that. Like we don't like that as an out. Our customers really we think they don't really care about what the reason is.
Right. That's true.
So we act like that. They're not going to care if we have a good reason. We need to figure it out.
Yep.
And that's kind of just how we operate.
Yeah. We're going to talk a little bit about Bean and its role in the overall enterprise combined with Sterling ATM. But, obviously Bean is different than the other business that we have. Can you speak to how Bean has contributed to the overall sense of employee pride and sense of purpose and morale?
It's been huge. If you walk around this company, everybody's, pretty well swagged up on Bean stuff.
That's true.
We sell out of swag. We're trying to buy it for customers, and all our employees are like going to payroll saying, I want to buy all these, these things. People attached to it, they see the trailers out there. I think everybody kind of knows somebody who has one. and you can kind of see them light up, when they're talking to their family, when their family come in, and they're kind of showing it off to their family. They even taken the trailers out, their family's being attached to the company, and just that experience. We have a monitor up, and we will post pictures of our customers and their experiences, and you hear them talking about that. They'll see some cool place that they went and want to know where that was. It really just has brought a lot more life into how much we care about what we do, because we know that what we're doing is going to be part of people's experiences and memories.
Right.
And there's a little something special about that, I think, to our people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think them seeing and getting to meet people that are picking up their trailers and seeing the excitement, to know that they played a role in actually building that. That's always fun to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see some of our employees like following our customers, like Instagram posts and stuff like that, commenting on it. And, their fingerprints are on the trailer, and they care about that. That's fulfilling, to know that you built something that's facilitating that kind of experience.
Absolutely. I know I get a lot of
Yeah.
pleasure out of that. Okay, so let's think back to summer 2020 when basically sales exploded for Bean. But I'm sure it wasn't just for Bean, right? It was the industry, right? People they couldn't travel for whatever reason, and they all of a sudden were interested in buying a trailer either from us or from somebody else, and just that unprecedented growth, right? And now that COVID spike is over and things have normalized to the previous growth rate. And what are some of the challenges that are new now that you see in the industry, and also for Bean Trailer that sales have normalized?
Yeah, there's different ways you can respond to that kind of a spike. Us caring about lead times and getting customers their trailers, we attacked that spike, right? So we have the visibility of it. We also saw the visibility of the normalization again, right? So as we see that, we plan differently, right?
Right.
We're an experienced manufacturer. We have a lot of work on the trailer side still, but we have other work going on here, of which is there's a lot of as well. So we can flex to where that work is. It's a big difference. I think part of the difference, part of the thing in how we operate too, and it's probably something to bring up, is we're not a heavy deposit company. There's not a huge deposit on the front end, and so we're still incented to deliver trailers, right?
Right.
The incentive isn't to get another order with a deposit that we can sit on.
Yeah. Right.
It's to deliver a trailer.
Massive difference in those two models, by the way.
And so what can happen is, if we were more heavy deposit, if we had a significant deposit, and you're getting all these deposits in, it may not even be intentional, but you have all this money that you now are finding ways to spend.
Right.
Which may not be in building trailers. It could be expanding. It could be buying additional equipment. It could be hiring up. It could be
for something that was a spike.
Right. Could be expanding additional facilities, stuff like that. Well, if you normalize, those deposits, have now been used not to build trailers, and so it gets a little tricky. So I think, having been a manufacturer and having all that visibility, I think we continue to operate. We care about lead times. We just had those indicators earlier, so we adjust to those. We have differently. We utilize our employees differently, and it still is. We still have those tools to respond to that as the work comes in. We know what we're trying to target. We know what our customers want, the trailer, as soon as possible. So we still deliver to that, and we utilize our resources to that effect.
Yeah. When if you're an unexperienced businessman or manufacturer, it's easy to not recognize that you're in a spike, or recognize that all spikes eventually come to an end. And so you think that rate of growth is just the new normal.
Yeah.
And it's not the new normal. And if you spend and not build to what you think is the new normal, then when things flatten, you can get in trouble,
Yeah.
right? And one of the things that I'm very impressed with is that I think that we never bought into the Kool-Aid of the spike. We knew that at some point that things were going to normalize.
Yeah.
And we conducted our business accordingly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's other. I guess there's other parts of that come up. Even before the spike, we had customers, who had come to us that had lost deposits with another trailer manufacturer.
Right. Yeah.
And
some of our earliest customers had lost deposits.
Yeah, and so really, I don't mean for my mind to go there, but when you talk about a spike and then a normalization, my mind has to go there. There's deposits that go into companies, and when you normalize it, if companies have overplanned or utilize those deposits for other things, you want to make sure that you're investing in a company that's strong, healthy, and is experienced, so that you get what you pay for.
Yeah, I'm going to go in a slightly little different direction, because I think the point you just made is really important. What are signs of a healthy company? Like what should you look for to know that a company's healthy?
Where my mind goes on a healthy company, fortunately or unfortunately, I guess it's lessons learned, or I worked in a company before that, struggled a little bit more. And I worked in a company who had vendors or customers who struggled. And so you could see some of those signs for when they started to struggle. So I would say, thinking of the opposite of that, clear communication on when you're getting your product.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Instead of a song and dance, right?
Dodging questions, being slow to respond to questions, vagueness in when you're getting or what the status of things are. So I would say that's a healthy sign, because the opposite of that is what I've seen when companies struggle.
Yeah.
Lack of responsiveness, vague information, a lot of wonder on when stuff's going to happen. So I'd say that's a clear one. I think also visible signs of throughput, whatever that is. It would be, for us, it would be customers picking up their trailers. Right. Visible signs of that, customers happy, good experiences, good reviews, things like that are recent, that aren't old stories and stuff like that.
I would say, to add that, and this one may seem a little bit silly, but clear organizational structure, right? I've been the president and CEO of Bean Trailer since inception. You have been the chief financial officer and the chief operating officer since its inception. There is no, if you talk to me on one day, my title doesn't change than if you talk to me on another day. The clear management structure, the clear ownership structure, because I've noticed when companies get in trouble, those things get a little fuzzy, right?
Yeah.
Those get a little blurred.
Yeah. You if you're coming in late, if you're trying to respond and it's too late because you didn't respond early enough or something like that, you get people wearing multiple hats. It gets a little unclear what people are doing. I think that can come up. I can see that.
Yeah.
Another one would be inventory, stagnant inventory. piles of stuff.
Yeah.
What'll happen is sometimes you can make paper money by building inventory, or if you're not building, if it's opposite end of the throughput, if inventory's piling up because you're not making trailers or producing things, you'll see piles of stuff in places.
There's people that just don't know how to control inventory. I mean, I told you a story of, I was super interested in an iconic trailer that's out. Before we decided to build Bean, I was super interested in what is considered an iconic trailer. And I flew out there, and before I even got in the plant, I saw stacks and stacks of inventory that were not organized and were not cared for. And I immediately lost interest in that company, right? And I think another one is, we're not a perfect manufacturer, and there isn't a day that goes by when there isn't something bugging us about our manufacturing process. But in general, right, a manufacturer should be open to showing you how they build things.
Yeah.
They should have some level, some threshold of pride in their facility and how they manage the process of building you a trailer.
Yeah, there are two sides to that, because we have a team that walks in every day trying to make things better. So we're looking at what can get improved, but at the same time, customers are coming in. We're taking them to show them, their trailer, how a trailer's built, how their trailer's going to be built. Yeah, you're definitely not going to be open to that if there's issues and problems and it doesn't, and you don't feel like you know what you're doing. And that kind of points to some of my mind kind of goes to the supply chain issues that are attached to that inventory side of things, where, if you don't have a system that clearly shows you what you're going to need when, you are going to have inventory piles waiting on the one thing that you forgot about that you need for all the rest to come together. So you got piles of stuff waiting on something. And it's a very complicated process. This trailer's made up of a lot of parts, right? That all have either vendors that need to come together that we assemble together. It's an invisible complexity, right? That could be really underestimated. We have people flanking this system full time, multiple people, coordinating those, not even today issues, future issues, right? So that customers get what we've told them. In customer order today, they have a date for when they're picking up their trailer. Today.
Yes. Yeah.
A date.
I mean, we occasionally, once in a while, those dates get a little blurry. Like if it's a new product, like Black Bean, right? To some extent, maybe, knock on wood, maybe not being stalker, but anything new, there might need to be a little latitude for a shift in time frame. But man, if you've been building it for a long time, like meaner, stock, the date you get is the date you come pick it up.
Yeah, I think a new product, it's kind of our version of an inexperienced manufacturer, right? A new product where it's a little more complicated product. There's more features to it and stuff like that, where we're still dialing that in. There's going to be a time frame where we're dialing that in until we get to the point where we can give that clarity of a date, because we will. We will get to that point. But some people never get to that point, and that's a difference, right? If you can't dial in your process enough to get to a point where you can give a clear date, that's a sign that it may just be an inexperienced manufacturer. You could still end up getting a good product at some point. It's just not. That's just not their. They may not be as experienced in that challenge of everything that has to happen from the point of that order to when you're going to commit to giving the trailer. But if if you've been in business for a while, you should be able to do that.
I mean, the other thing that to me is a sign of a competent company in the space is that there's 3 major areas that you have to be competent in. And just because somebody's really good at one of those things doesn't mean that they're good at the other 2, right? So a company may be an incredible marketer and designer, right? But if they can't transition that to engineering, right, then they're not going to be a great company.
Right.
And if engineering, and there's some companies that are really not good marketers and designers, but they're incredible engineers. But just because they're incredible engineers doesn't mean that they can transition that to production. Right. So you have to be good basically at all 3 of those. And just sitting here talking to you, it's not that there's an expertise associated with those, but almost as importantly, maybe more importantly, I'm curious about your thoughts on this. That's just experience, right? You know, Bean has been around for 6 or 7 years now, but really, with the same capabilities, we've been building products for 20 years now, right? And so our systems, our handoffs, our inventory control have been developed over a 20-year period, you know, starting with Sterling ATM, with which we share this facility and a lot of our capabilities in building outdoor products that had to be super durable and protect ATMs.
Yeah. There's 2 things that come to mind, kind of external sources that kind of preach to that. You know, Elon Musk, we're familiar with the products he's designed. You know, brilliant products, right?
Yeah.
And how complicated those products are is fascinating enough alone. But he even said the bigger challenge was building the factory, which was the machine that builds the machine.
Right.
Toyota, right?
Right.
So say a Toyota who has been at the manufacturing game for a while and is world renowned.
Yes.
They invite the competitors into their plant, you know, because they know the work that they've done and what their competitor is going to see.
Yeah.
They started long ago.
Yeah.
Right. So their experience, that kind of speaks to that.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead and try and build up, you know, a manufacturing process that is like theirs.
Yeah.
You're years and years and years and years and years away of even thinking about.
Yeah, come on in and see how we
yeah.
manufacture things.
Yep.
It only took us 50 years
Yeah.
to get to this point, and
Yeah.
by the time you catch us, we'll be way gone.
Yeah, they're 50 years down. Yeah, it's
That's true.
yeah, it's definitely it's definitely an important part of maybe a difference.
Yeah.
You know?
So in addition to Sterling ATM providing us with the system, you know, the experience in the systems, the expertise to build Bean Trailer, the other thing now that the market is normalized is the additional revenue stream of Sterling ATM. And the great benefit of Sterling ATM, which builds products for the banking market, is that the best years that Sterling ATM has ever had are in recession years.
Yep.
And you know, Sterling ATM is in a record year, mostly because the economy has started to slow down.
Yeah.
You know, so it's nice to have an additional revenue stream and source of business. And when Sterling's down, Bean is up in general, right? So those are a good combination.
Yeah.
You know, on the development side, we've developed Black Bean, which has been extremely successful, and we're super excited about Beanstalker that we just are starting to introduce. What are some of the things that you would like to accomplish operationally in the next year with Bean?
Getting Black Bean lead times down into the mix that we have with everything else.
Yeah.
We talked about
which,
that
by
process.
the way, are 60 to 90 days for all of our other trailers.
Yeah. It kind of has its own spike still. you know.
Right. Yep.
It's still blowing up at a rate faster than where, you know, we've been able to keep up with. And so we'll just be attacking that like we have during the pandemic spike. So that'll be a big one. I think operationally, I think there's been a lot of demand even further and further away from the plant. You know, I'd like to see exploring putting trailers out in the more remote locations where there's a lot of interest.
Yeah, closer to the buyers.
Yeah, closer to the buyers. We've had, you know, it's kind of been a luxury of the success is, you know, a lot of people have come to us, but I think there's a lot of people out there that, you know, want to see it. We're going on, you know, the tour, the whatever, touring the country with Bean.
Coming to a town near you.
So doing more of that. I think you just see a lot of the positive comments and like people who want to see it, but maybe they're not able to make a trip out or whatever. I think we want to do that.
Okay. So that pretty much wraps it up for this episode of Between Two Beans. What I didn't realize, Brian, we were going to do is basically create a tutorial of how to be successful in the trailer business today, but I think that's what we've done. And so, like always, if you like this video, subscribe and like it. And until next time, thank you.